This portion of the news is brought to you by Ron Carter Cadillac.
Thanks for tuning in to NTV Houston. Here are the top headlines we're following this evening. The driver of last night's Northwest Houston fiery wreck, killing a baby and 3 others, has been charged. Houston police were on the scene on a reported robbery involving multiple shooting last night in Northeast Houston. Death tolls rise after twin avalanches hit eastern Turkey, killing deployed search and rescue workers. A high-speed train derails in northern Italy, killing 2 and injuring dozens. Goods are being stranded as the coronavirus hits global shipping. Good evening, I'm Lindsay Mayfield. The driver of last night's Northwest Houston fiery wreck, killing a baby and 3 others, has been charged. 4 people were left hospitalized in critical but stable condition today after last night's fatal collision. According to Harris County Precinct 4 Constable, the driver accused of last night's crash in northwest Harris County will be charged with 3 counts of intoxication manslaughter and 2 counts of intoxication assault. Officers say a silver SUV heading south at Beltway 8 and Antone Drive flew through a red light, hitting a black SUV, and then crashed into a minivan, which burst into flames. 2 witnesses said they pulled the accused driver and his passenger out of their car and described the injured men as incoherent. All drivers and passengers of the SUV remain hospitalized. A woman inside the minivan was ejected on impact and is currently hospitalized. The other 2 adults and a baby died inside the burning vehicle. Houston police were on the scene of a reported robbery involving a multiple shooting last night in Northeast Houston. Responding officers found an adult male and a female at the location of the robbery with multiple gunshot wounds. Police say it appeared the suspects may have forced their way into the residence where the shooting took place. Paraphernalia was located inside the room where the victims were located. Investigators have interviewed a few witnesses but are unable to access surveillance at this time, and is unknown if anything was taken. Both victims were transported to the hospital, where the male was pronounced deceased and the female remains in critical condition. Anyone with any information can call HPD tip line. Death tolls rise after twin avalanche hit eastern Turkey, killing deployed search and rescue workers. The Turkish National Disaster and Crisis Directorate has said at least 41 people have been killed after twin avalanches hit the mountainside near Turkey's eastern border with Iran. Another 84 have been injured in the past 24-hour period. On Tuesday, a team of more than 170 rescuers, including soldiers, firefighters, civilians, and village guards, were then deployed to search in the darkness for 2 survivors who were still believed to be buried in the snow after the first avalanche hit a stretch of mountain road, pummeling a minibus and snow-clearing vehicle, killing 5 people and injuring another 8. Dozens of rescuers who responded to the first snowslide were killed when the second avalanche hit midday yesterday. Since then, medical units and ambulances, alongside with a team of 180 search and rescue workers, were deployed to the scene. High-speed train derails in northern Italy, killing 2 and injuring dozens. Earlier today, a high-speed train derailed in the northern Italian province of Lodi, killing at least 2 people and interrupting traffic on the line between Milan and Bologna. Emergency services were at the scene, and a railway office has said 2 have been killed and 2 others were seriously injured. A number of others had minor injuries. Sky Italia reported 2 members of the train crew had been killed and 27 people were injured. The train skipped the tracks 25 miles from Italy's financial capital, Milan, at around 5:30 a.m. this morning. In a statement, State Railways said the cause of the accident was being investigated. The man responsible for sounding the alarm on the Wuhan virus has died. According to several state media reports, the Chinese doctor who tried to warn others about the deadly coronavirus has died. On December 30th, Li Winli Wang, the 34-year-old doctor, posted on his medical school alumni group that 7 patients of a local seafood market had been quarantined in his hospital after being diagnosed with a SARS-like illness. He was one of several other medics accused by local police of exciting rumors of whistleblowing the deadly outbreak in its earlier weeks, which has since then infected thousands. Li had been hospitalized on January 12th after contracting the virus from a patient and confirmed with it on February 1st. Today, the World Health Organization expressed their sadness at the news of his death. As of today, globally, the number of confirmed cases stands at 28,275, with more than 28,000 of those in China. There have been 565 deaths so far, but those 2, which were in China, with 1 in the Philippines and 1 in Hong Kong.
You know, inactivated virus, you inject it in a human, they develop an immune response, and that can be protective. In the modern era, we're much more refined. So the virus has different pieces of its components. You can take the gene from the key component, and here it's called the spike protein. Remember, coronavirus means it has spikes like a crown. So that spike protein is very important to the infectivity of the virus. So we can take a gene for the spike protein. We never touch the virus. We make the protein. We can make it very pure, and we can inject that and have an immune response to the spike protein that will be protective. So it's a little unknown. The traditional pathway for licensure of a new vaccine, it's 8 to 10 years. So there was a big breakthrough with Ebola. It took 4 years. However, there are some intermediate steps, and Ebola is a perfect example of that. There was enough evidence early in the development that the Ebola vaccine might work, and that it was reasonable to test it. The risk-benefit was reasonable, and so they tested it in the field under compassionate use, and it was a very good decision. They showed it worked, it protected, it was deployed in several 100,000 subjects. So there is some unknowns. On the other end, Novavax has in the past gone from getting the gene sequence, identifying the virus, to starting testing in 90 days for Ebola and for a pandemic potential flu vaccine. So we've done it, and so everyone's very focused on trying to compress these time frames. So this could be relevant for 2 reasons here. The coronavirus could evolve during an epidemic. It'd be very important to have one vaccine that actually has broad responses to it that would cover that, so the mutations would not change the efficacy. So that would be it'd be a nice feature. The other thing is that we think it's possible there's a second wave. So it may go away in the summer.
Back at home, we now have 12 confirmed cases of the coronavirus. The U.S. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention has listed 293 people under investigation for the coronavirus in 36 states as of yesterday. The 12th confirmed case of the Wuhan coronavirus in the U.S. has been reported by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services. 6 cases have been confirmed in California, 1 in Massachusetts, 1 in Washington State, 1 in Arizona, 2 in Illinois, and 1 in Wisconsin. There are 2 instances of person-to-person transmission, 1 in Illinois and 1 in California. Coming up after the break, Turkey dispatches tanks to its borders with Syria as it faces off against rebels, and the impeachment showdown has come to a final vote. All that and more after the break.
शुगरलैंड में आ रहा है अलरब्बा वर्ल्ड फूड। 61,000 स्क्वायर फीट में होगा आपका अपना देसी मिनी मॉल, जहां ग्रोसरी से लेकर होम फर्निशिंग तक ये है वन स्टॉप शॉप डेस्टिनेशन, लोकेटेड इन न्यू टेरिटरी एरिया एट यूनिवर्सिटी एंड ग्रैंड पार्कवे। अलरब्बा offers retail space for all businesses. Al-Rabba World Foods. For more information, call Amir Ali at 512-652-8462.
Our story begins more than 60 years ago inside an abandoned chicken coop where our founder discovered a retired teacher living, no home, no health care. So she said no to this injustice and yes to transforming lives. It's this drive, this compassion that inspired AARP. Today, we empower people to choose how they live as they age. We advocate for health and financial security. We strengthen communities everywhere. We are AARP Houston, creating real possibilities.
Step into luxury in 2020. Kick off the new year with a brand new Cadillac from Ron Carter Cadillac. For a limited time, take advantage of $12,000 in total savings on all new 2019 CT6 sedans and get $17,000 total savings on all new 2019 Escalades. Upgrading to luxury has never been so easy. Gulf Freeway just 2 minutes south of the Beltway. Your only Houston area Cadillac to your door dealer, RonCarterCadillac.com.
Saucito! Dookie! Saucito! Dookie! Saucito! Dookie लगा Saucito का मजा बड़ा Saucito tomato ketchup मजे की डुबकी.
Turkey dispatches tanks to its borders with Syria as it faces off against rebels. Yesterday, Turkey deployed tanks to its border with Syria as Syrian government forces battled rebels and weathered Turkish artillery barricades in northern Idlib province. Syrian government forces have been trying to seize Idlib's Saqib town in a new push to recapture the last rebel stronghold. President Bashar al-Assad's swift military advance through Idlib province, backed by Russian airstrikes, has caused an exodus of civilians toward Turkey's borders in the past 2 weeks, risking a military confrontation with Turkey. Turkey Foreign Minister expected Russia to immediately stop the government attacks, which killed 8 Turkish military personnel on Monday, prompting Turkish forces to strike back on Wednesday. Syrian forces backed by airstrike had encircled and entered Saqib, 9 miles east of Idlib city. Goods are being stranded as the coronavirus hits global shipping. Shipping companies carrying goods from China globally are reducing the number of seaborne vessels as measures to stop the spread of the coronavirus crimp demand for their services and threaten to disrupt global supply chains. According to the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, about 80% of the world's goods trade by volume is carried by sea, in China is home to 7 of the world's 10 busiest container ports. Nearly both Singapore and Southern Korea have megaports as well. Some ships can't get into Chinese ports as the loading and discharging of goods slows down. Others are stuck in dock, waiting for workers to return to ports so that construction and repairs can be completed. And still more vessels are idling in floating quarantined zones as countries such as Australia and Singapore refuse to allow ships that have called on Chinese ports to enter their own until the crew have been declared virus-free. But it's not just shipping containers that's been affected. On Monday, IAG Cargo, the air cargo arm of British Airways, canceled all services to and from mainland China for at least the remainder of the month. However, UPS and FedEx Express are still continuing to fly into and out of China. 2 other cruise ships have been hit with the virus as thousands aboard a cruise liner in Japan are being monitored by authorities after passengers tested positive for the coronavirus. 10 passengers were transported off the Diamond Princess by the Japan Coast Guard for treatment in medical facilities. Initial health screening was given to everyone on board. The 3,700 passengers will remain on board the ship quarantined for 14 days. Everyone on board the ship had received the initial health screening, a process which identified 273 people for testing. Japan Health Minister Katsunobatsu Kato stated that of the smaller group, 31 results were received, revealing the 10 confirmed cases. Carnival's Princess Cruises said that in an effort to soothe the quarantined passengers on board, they will receive free internet and telephone services in order to stay in contact with their family and loved ones. And the ship's crew is working to keep all guests comfortable. The ship is scheduled to go back out to sea to perform normal marine operations, including the production of fresh water, before it receives food and other supplies from Yokohama. 3 killed and others injured after a plane skids off a runway in Istanbul. Morning light today showed the extent of damage to a Pegasus airline plane that skidded off a runway and broke into 3 pieces after landing at Istanbul's Sabiha Gökçen Airport on Wednesday evening. 3 people died in the hospital following the crash, with 179 of the 183 aboard wounded, according to Turkish health minister. The wounded were being treated at 18 nearby hospitals. The plane was carrying 177 passengers and 6 crew from the western province of Izmir. The Boeing 737 split into 3 pieces after the authorities said what was dropped at around 30 to 40 meters, 98 to 131 feet at the end of the runway. Footage showed the plane landing and continuing at a high speed off the runway. Flights had been diverted to Istanbul Airport while the runway at Sabiha Gökçen was closed, Transportation Minister Turhan. However, Sabiha Gökçen Airport announced the runway reopened from 4 a.m. this morning, and the website shows flights had resumed on Thursday morning. The U.S. Senate officially adjourns impeachment trials following Trump's acquittal. Yesterday, President Donald Trump was acquitted in his U.S. Senate impeachment trial, saved by fellow Republicans who railed to protect him 9 months before he's asked voters to give him a second White House term. The businessman turned politician survived only the 3rd presidential impeachment trial in the U.S. history, just like the 2 other impeached presidents in his turbulent presidency's darkest chapter. With U.S. Chief Justice John Roberts presiding, the Senate voted 52 to 48 to acquit him of abuse of power stemming from his request that Ukraine investigate political rival Joe Biden, as well as voted 53 to 47 to acquit him of obstruction of Congress by blocking witnesses and documents sought by the White House. Trump now plunges into an election season with the promises to further polarize the country.
Guilty as charged. 52 senators have pronounced him not guilty as charged. 2/3 of the senators present not having pronounced him guilty, the Senate adjudges that the respondent, Donald John Trump, President of the United States, is not guilty as charged in the first article of impeachment. The clerk will read the second article of impeachment.
In response, without lawful cause or excuse, President Trump directed executive branch agencies, offices, and officials not to comply with those subpoenas. President Trump thus interposed the powers of the presidency against the lawful subpoenas of the House of Representatives and assumed to himself functions and judgments necessary to the exercise of the sole power of impeachment vested by the Constitution in the House of Representatives. In the history of the Republic, no president has ever ordered the complete defiance of an impeachment inquiry or sought to obstruct and impede so comprehensively the ability of the House of Representatives to investigate high crimes and misdemeanors.
Coming up after the break, 1 astronaut has made history, plus a few auto suspects have been caught. All that and more after the break.
शुगरलैंड में आ रहा है अलरबा वर्ल्ड फूड। 61,000 स्क्वायर फीट में होगा आपका अपना देसी मिनी मॉल, जहां ग्रोसरी से लेकर होम फर्निशिंग तक ये है वन स्टॉप शॉप डेस्टिनेशन, लोकेटेड इन न्यू टेरिटरी एरिया एट यूनिवर्सिटी एंड ग्रैंड पार्कवे. Alrabba offers retail space for all businesses. Alrabba World Foods. For more information, call Amir Ali at 512-652-8462.
Kick off the new year with a new Cadillac from Ron Carter Cadillac. Own the new 2020 Cadillac Escalade with $9,000 customer cash, or drive for just $829 a month. The first ever 2020 XT6 premium luxury crossover for $499 a month, or the new 2020 XT4 luxury collection just $379 a month. All for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Your only Houston area Cadillac to your door dealer, RonCarterCadillac.com.
सुनो, आज क्या पकाऊं?
कुछ नया पकाओ यार।
हर रोज का है देखो एक ही सवाल, आज क्या पकाऊं? क्या है ख्याल?
आ गए नए मलका रेसिपी मसाले, खालिस और बेहतरीन अज्जा, मुनफरिद जायका, नो एडेड एमएसजी और ग्लूटेन से महफूज। लखनवी बिरयानी, हैदराबादी अचार गोश्त, पंजाबी तड़का दाल, पेशावरी कढ़ाई।
मुझको देखो मिल गया इसका एक हल, रोज है मजा नया, आज हो या कल।
आज तो कमाल कर दिया।
कमाल तो मलका ने किया है।
तुम ही तो हो मेरे दिल की मलका।
मलका, कुछ नया पकाओ।
NASA astronaut returns to Earth after record space mission. A capsule carrying a crew of 3 from the International Space Station, including record-setting United States astronaut Christina Koch, landed in Kazakhstan today. The touchdown on a snow-covered steep also marked the return to Earth of an Italian and Russian astronaut. Koch's 320-day space mission broke the record for the longest continuous stay in space by a woman, previously held by NASA's Peggy Winston. Launched into orbit last March, Koch's mission was extended in April from its original span of 6 months to nearly a year, after she was already aboard the station. She also achieved a gender milestone in a relatively routine spacewalk with fellow NASA astronaut Jessica Meir last October that marked the first 2 women stepped out of space station at the same time. A homeowner in Northeast Houston protects his home from robbery. Houston police and fire departments responded to a reported shooting earlier this morning. Upon arrival at the residence, they found an adult male who had been shot in the back. HPD learned that the male that had been shot was attempting to break into the home.
We're carrying location as 1800 Capron, is where the shooting occurred at a residence over here. Time was around just right after 1:30 in the morning. So officers got a call to a shooting that occurred. Officers get the location. HFD is here as well. There's a male that has been shot one time. Officers find out that a homeowner was inside of his home, an older man, heard some noise in the back of his house. He goes in there, he sees a hand reaching in where the AC unit is at. Scares him. He goes and gets his pistol, goes to the front of the house trying to figure out what exactly is going on. At that time, suspect runs around, confronts him, and shots were fired.
The homeowner heard a noise in the back of his house, and when he went to go check it out, he said he had seen a hand reaching in to where the AC unit is located. The resident then went to the front of his house after retrieving his pistol to figure out what was happening. Officers were then told the suspect confronted the homeowner, and then shots were fired. HFD transported the male to Bentop Hospital. On the North Freeway, auto suspects were apprehended. Last night, deputies detained 5 car theft suspects after dumping a stolen vehicle. During the stop, 2 weapons were found. The white sedan the suspects entered into came back stolen, but the truck they left in did not. Coming up after the break, one celebrity has made his final depart.
शुगरलैंड में आ रहा है अलरबा वर्ल्ड फूड। 61,000 स्क्वायर फीट में होगा आपका अपना देसी मिनी मॉल, जहां ग्रोसरी से लेकर होम फर्निशिंग तक ये है वन स्टॉप शॉप डेस्टिनेशन, लोकेटेड इन न्यू टेरिटरी एरिया एट यूनिवर्सिटी एंड ग्रैंड पार्कवे. Alrabba offers retail space for all businesses. Alrabba World Foods. For more information, call Amir Ali at 512-652-8462. मनपसंद सुपरमार्केट जहां की फ्रेश वेजिटेबल्स, स्पाइसेस, फ्रोजन फूड आइटम्स आपको सबसे अच्छे प्राइस में मिलेंगी और हलाल ज़बीहा मीट भी मिलेगा। दाम मनपसंद, नाम मनपसंद, तो फिर क्यों ना जाए मनपसंद। Located at Wilcrest Drive, Houston, North Highway and William Cannon Drive, Austin, Texas. तो नाम याद रखिएगा, मनपसंद सुपरमार्केट।
When it comes to protecting yourself and your partners, all the information out there can be overwhelming. Visit our website. We are a free and confidential service, striving to help you stay informed and stay notified. We are committed to a healthy Houston.
A famous actor, Kirk Douglas, dies at the age of 103, survived by his son, Michael Douglas. Yesterday, Kirk Douglas, the cleft-chinned movie star who fought gladiators, cowboys, and boxers on the screen and the Hollywood establishment, Douglas has made more than 90 movies in a career that stretched across 7 decades, and films such as Spartacus and the Vikings made him one of the biggest box stars of the 1950s and 60s. The Lifetime Oscar was Douglas's only Academy Award, even though he was nominated for others. Born Isyer Daniel Ovik on December 9, 1916, in Amsterdam, New York, Douglas was the only son of 7 children born to Russian immigrants. After graduating from high school, he hitchhiked to St. Lawrence University in Canton, New York, where he became a wrestling champion. He also staged and starred in theatrical productions and changed his name to Izzy Dempsey. After St. Lawrence, he graduated from New York's American Academy of Dramatic Arts in 1941 and changed his name again to Kirk Douglas. He joined the Navy following 2 small Broadway roles. While in service, he married British actress Diana Dill, and they had 2 sons, Michael and Joel, before the marriage ended after 8 years. He established the Douglas Foundation of making charitable donations in 2015. He and Anne announced plans to give away his $80 million fortune to a variety of causes. The beneficiaries included a shelter for homeless women, named after Anne, the Los Angeles Public School District, St. Lawrence University, and hospitals. To mark the 99th birthday in 2015, he donated $15 million to the Motion Picture and Television Fund to help build a facility for entertainment industry figures with Alzheimer's disease. Now taking a look ahead at your forecast as we wrap up the work week, temperatures start to rise, peaking to the 70s as the sun starts to peek out. Here's what to expect. Remember, if it affects you, we want to hear about it. Check us out on your social media. Download our NTV Houston app for the latest updates and more. Thank you for watching NTV Houston. I'm Lindsay Mayfield. Have a great night.